Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how to safely bring on family and friends as investors in your real estate deals. So one of the big concerns people have when I suggest focusing on family and friends and that sort of thing as their prospective investors is the whole idea of working with their family and friends in their real estate deals. They're concerned about what happens if the deal goes south, what happens to the relationship if the deal doesn't go exactly according to plan. So I'm going to show you in today's video exactly what to do in order to bring on your friends and your family members as your investor partners, creating win-win scenarios and not putting your relationships at risk. Stay tuned. So a lot of people are justifiably nervous about talking with their friends or their family members about investing with them in the real estate deals for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're really concerned about, hey, what happens if my brother or my sister or my cousin or my best friend from high school invests $50,000 or $100,000 with me, and then the real estate deal doesn't go according to plan? What's going to happen to my relationship with that person? So they're worried about that, and that's good. You need to be concerned about your investor's capital and what's going to happen with it when they invest with you. Another big thing is with a lot of people, they've grown up with this whole thing of neither a borrower nor a lender be. Never work with friends and family. It's a recipe for disaster. And you know what? It can be if you do it wrong. But there are so many big benefits to working with investors that you have that pre-existing relationship with first that I think it's really important that we set the record straight. So I'm going to show you exactly how to set yourself and your friends and your family up for success by doing real estate deals together, whether that's bringing them on as a joint venture partner or as a private lender or a passive investor. So here's the big picture overview. When you're working with a friend or a family member as an investor partner, treat it as if that person is a professional investor, a professional accredited investor. So what do I mean by that? If you were to bring on an accredited investor in the first place, there would be certain expectations right up front. So first things first, that person would expect you to project a professional image. That person would expect you to have a very well put together investor pitch deck presentation. They would expect you to know your numbers. They would expect you to bring professionalism to the table. So do the same thing if you're going to be working with a friend or a family member. Bring that professionalism to the table first. That's going to go a long way to making them feel very comfortable about investing with you. Second big tip is if you were working with an accredited investor, that person would want to make sure that you've got all of the appropriate paperwork ahead of time, right? Starting all the way from an expression of interest, all the way up to a joint venture agreement or the contracts or however you're going to structure the deal with that person. So don't go in with your friend or family member with a spit and a handshake, right? Or just a verbal agreement. Have everything set up as if you were working with a professional investor or accredited investor, right? Have the right paperwork, have the right contracts done professionally. Invest a few bucks in a lawyer, get it done properly, right? Third big thing an accredited investor would be looking for would be independent legal advice. So they would want to run the deal by their own lawyer before signing off on things. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is insist that your friend or your family member get their own independent legal advice. Insist that they get their lawyer to look over the paperwork and the contract and whatnot for their protection and their comfort, all right? Not your lawyer talking them through it, their own lawyer taking a look over at it, okay? That's going to go a long way. Now, once things get going with the deal, once you're working with somebody like an accredited investor, that person is going to expect regular reporting, regular meetings and regular reporting. So do the same thing with your friend or your family member. Set it up, especially the first year or so, that you're going to be getting together with them on a quarterly basis. You're going to be sending them quarterly reports and having quarterly meetings with them to review how things are going with the deal, right? So do the same thing with your friend or your family member. That's what an accredited investor would expect. That's what you should be providing them as well. Now, doing all of these things is going to do several things. Number one, it's going to set you up for success working with your friend or your family member. And number two, it's going to give you practice doing things professionally for when you are bringing on accredited investors later on in your capital raising journey. So why not get started on the right foot right now? Okay. Now, the other thing, if you're working with a friend or family member, is don't just show them the upside of your deal. Show them what the pros are, show them what the big benefits are, show them what the risks and the downside are as well, and make sure that they understand that this is an investment and there is inherent risk in any kind of investment. Don't paint it as being a completely negative thing. Show them what the risks are and what you're going to do to minimize the chance of those things happening, what you're going to do to deal with them should they happen, how you're going to mitigate those risks. But make sure that the person comes in with the full knowledge that this is an investment. And then also another big tip when you're working with friend or family is to, after you've got all of that other stuff set up and you're doing everything professionally, then it's the time to have the spit in the handshake agreement that you're going to keep business and you're going to keep friendship and family separate. Okay, so what does that mean? Have a side agreement with the person that says basically, hey, you know what? If you've got any questions about your investment with me, you can reach me anytime by phone or by text or during our regular quarterly meetings. But when we're getting together with the friends or we're getting together for family get-togethers and Thanksgiving and Christmas and weddings and birthdays and whatnot, let's keep business outside of it. Let's just focus on having fun and spending time as family or friends. Does that make sense? So have that agreement. So set those boundaries, set those expectations. Everybody comes in with their eyes wide open. That's how you create win-win scenarios, and that's how you can work with your friends and your family members right from the get-go. Great example of this is a couple of clients of ours, Jamie and Leslie Collard. They got started like most of us, self-financing their first couple of properties. I think they got their first 3 deals on the go under their own financial steam. Then they started raising capital. And the first people they raised capital from were Leslie's dad and her stepmother. So they showed them their investor presentation. They did everything the way we talked about. And I think they raised $100,000 from her dad and stepmom. And they set everything up properly. So they had the regular reporting, the regular meetings. They had the agreement that when they're getting together for family get-togethers, they wouldn't talk business. And it worked like gangbusters. In fact, her dad and her stepmom reinvested with them multiple times. And this was what got them started and helped them go from 3 units in their portfolio up to 44 units their first year, 88 units their second year, and the sky is the limit. So you got to get started. Start with your friends and family. Just treat it as if you're working with an accredited investor. All right, if you found that helpful, if you'd like more tips and ideas about raising private capital, go ahead, grab my book, Money Partner Formula. InvestorAttractionBook.com is where you can get it. It's free, or you can scroll down and click on the link in the description below. And this is going to walk you through my entire process, how to set up your foundational parts of your capital machine, how to launch your marketing, how to leverage everything and really scale up your capital, how to go from 6 figures in a matter of weeks to 7 figures in a matter of months. Again, it's all here in the book. Grab your copy today.